Last Tuesday, the Grapevine posted a tweet coming for the root. Here's a picture of the screenshot and the tweet right here. So the tweet, which features a screen capture of a clip of its show being shown in a video hosted on the Root's YouTube channel. The quote says, "Here it is on YouTube, and this video is monetized. You didn't even give us credit in your description. How are we splitting this revenue?" For those who don't know, the Grapevine did a full episode on the issue of cultural appropriation as it relates to the music artist Bruno Mars. This episode went viral as a direct result of the Grapevine's decision to pull a 2-minute hot take clip from its own episode, which featured a very controversial but firm position from one of its panel members. That clip went viral, and as a result, it ushered in a national, and by national I mean mainstream, discussion on this topic, making the issue of Bruno Mars and cultural appropriation headline news covered by a number of media outlets. So, The Root, which is a digital news media outlet, decided to cover the news story as well, which leads me back to the Grapevine's tweet. The Grapevine accused The Root of doing 4 things. 1, not asking for permission to use this video clip. 2, not paying them for use of the clip. 3, complaining of removal of their watermark. And lastly, not crediting the Grapevine in the description area of The Root's YouTube video. All right, let's start with the case for the plaintiff, GrapevineTV. Here's the deal, Grapevine. You cut the clip, okay? You made the clip and you made this topic news. And you enjoyed that coverage, yes? Of course you did, because it made your clip go viral and significantly increased the views on the full episode, and you got interviews to highlight your organization and increase your likes, your subscribes, and your follows, which is precisely the effect that you wanted. Kudos. Nevertheless, remember that it is you who made your clip and the topic national news. The key word here is news, which leads me to one of my favorite subjects in the law, the doctrine of fair use. Fair use is a doctrine that allows for brief excerpts of copyright material to be lifted verbatim for purposes such as criticism, commentary, and news reporting without the need for permission from or payment to the copyright holder. Let me repeat that. Fair use is a well-established body of law that's been around since forever that allows news outlets to lift copyright material of someone else verbatim for things like criticism, commentary, and reporting on news without having to ask you for permission or pay you for a darn thing. Now, I hear some of y'all saying, well, Huffington Post and Teen Vogue asked for permission. Why didn't The Root? Well, hate to break the news to you, but they did it as a professional courtesy because they know that novices in the area of journalism, such as yourself, might not understand this area of law, and getting your permission in writing is easier road than having to deal with frivolous legal claims and Twitter dragging after the fact. But at the end of the day, legally, they didn't ask for your permission to use this clip to report the news. Now, they did have to give you credit, though, for the clip, but not for legal reasons, but rather to abide by an ethics rule in journalism, which is the avoidance of plagiarism. But let's be real clear, attribution, which is the act of citing the source of material, isn't a legal issue, and that is also well established in the law. It's simply an ethical issue. Don't debate me on this, don't at me on that, okay? I got a viral blog post on this because unfortunately, this issue of copyright infringement versus plagiarism versus fair use keeps coming up amongst Black folks on this here Twitter. All this now, though, leads me to discuss the case of the defendant, The Root. Now, The Root, as a news media outlet, it has the right to report news and use clips, such as the one the Grapevine cut and distributed itself to report that news. And despite what facts the Grapevine has said in connection with The Root's use of this clip, that is exactly what The Root did. Here's what actually occurred. The Root did an approximately 3-minute news report providing its own commentary and criticism on the issue of Bruno Mars and cultural appropriation. It told a full story and gave a full analysis and alternative positions on this issue involving the conversations of those who garnered national attention. And since the Grapevine was a part of the conversation, it used a mere 10 seconds of the Grapevine clip. Why don't you run this clip so you can show everybody what it is?
And at the 2018 Grammys, he took home 6 of the music industry's top honors. But lately, a renowned musician has reduced Mars to karaoke. The shade continues.
He's a wedding singer. He's the person you hire to do Michael Jackson and Prince covers. Yet Bruno Mars has an Album of the Year Grammy and Prince never won an Album of the Year.
Wow.
Ooh, that was harsh. Here's the thing.
Yeah, 10 seconds. I don't think you got that from how carefully crafted the Grapevine screen capture and tweet was. And that is why so many of y'all on Twitter fell for this okie doke. Contrary to what the Grapevine may have led you to believe, the source of the clip is in the left-hand corner, which clearly says GrapevineTV, and which amounts to proper attribution of the source of the clip. There was no need to list the Grapevine in the description of the Roots video, because heck, the clip wasn't even the full focus of the video. The clip was an incredibly brief excerpt used to showcase the shade that was being thrown Bruno Mars's way, which is what made folks make this news. Matter of fact, if you actually take time to watch the entire video for The Root, you'll see that every single video clip used by The Roots credits the source of that video content, including the Grapevine. This, dear Grapevine, is the cost of doing business when you go viral and you become news. Judgment for The Root for proper usage of copyright material of others via the fair use doctrine. But in dicta, if you will, I would like to say shame on you, GrapevineTV, for being misleading in your tweet about how The Root used your content. You are clearly credited as the source of the clip, and your screen capture was highly misleading for Twitter users, and strategically so, making it seem like the 3-minute video that The Root embodied the entire 2-minute clip you circulated. Shame on you for invoking use of the Twitter do your thing to have The Root dragged and cause them to lose followers as a result of you misleading them, and if I might say, maliciously so, about the situation. Next time, consult your IP lawyer before going public. And 2, use the tools YouTube has for DMCA claims. Why would you have your hive do your dirty work? It's not really a good business move, and it certainly isn't a good look. Your novice and your ego is showing. I'm Trezanay. You can @ me at Trezanay on all social media platforms. You like what I said? Let me know. You don't like what I said? Let me know. But in either case, come with the facts, because anything less is simply your uninformed opinion. I'm Trezanay, and you've just watched I'm Just Saying. Welcome back. I'm Trezanay. I'm joined with Ebony the Writer. Say hello to everybody.
Hello, everyone.
For those who don't know, Ebony the Writer is a dope and legitimate journalist. She's been an editor for one of the oldest African American newspapers in the nation. Yes, she's an amazing writer. She knows her stuff.
I try to know myself as best I can.
As best you can. Well, I think you do an amazing job.
Thank you.
So what do you think about this story between the Grapevine and The Root? What are your thoughts?
Yes. So first of all, excellent commentary just now. And I thank you for breaking that down for us. because honestly, when I first saw the Grapevine's tweet and when it came to my attention, I was admittedly a bit agitated because as a content creator of color, and you would know this yourself, sometimes, a lot of times, the bigger guys will, you know, pilfer things from smaller organizations and then use it for their own, you know, selfish use.
Yes, absolutely.
Not attributing where they got it from. And all those sorts of things. So it is a grave issue. So when I first saw it, I was admittedly agitated. Your commentary further explained to me what went wrong on the side of the Grapevine. I do agree that them misinterpreting the situation and putting it out there, okay, Twitter, do your thing, was problematic. Because then what happens is you have all these people who are a lot less informed, but they want to hop on the bandwagon argument thing that will go crazy and turn this into something that it is not supposed to be.
I was shocked at just how many tweets came in, you know, replying and mentioning like, what, they did that, why would they do that? And people tagging the Root saying, why aren't you saying something? You ain't ish, your journalistic integrity is trash. I saw people saying, I'm unfollowing you, the Root. And I was like, wait.
Yeah. And I think what happens is that there's this mob mentality when it comes to social media. Instead of people adequately breaking down the facts and doing this research and their homework on their own, it's like, okay, let's hop on this bandwagon, and then it turns into this whole, like, excuse my language, but clusterfuck. What it made me think of is there was a young lady, and I wish I could remember her Twitter handle, but she accused a mainstream outlet of stealing a pitch that she had pitched them.
Oh my gosh.
Stealing that story and then having someone else basically write something that she had pitched them months ago that they did not credit her for or hire her to write. When you further went through it, she was a Black female writer, and a lot of times people were like, oh my gosh, that's so wrong, why would they do that to you? But then when the receipts started coming out, you found out that this young lady was completely incorrect. She pitched a certain story. It was a very broad topic. I want to say it was like sexual harassment or something of that sort. Very broad topic. And her pitch was nowhere near what the actual story came out to be.
I think I remember
they were under the same topic, but and it was completely ridiculous. But by her hopping on Twitter do your thing, they hopped in the mentions and turned this into this big ugly thing that it didn't have to be.
I need hashtag Twitter do your thing to disappear. Completely.
Honestly, because at some points it makes absolute sense, and we do need Twitter to do its thing. Sometimes you need people to get on these social media platforms and call a thing, to quote Iyanla. I was watching Iyanla last night, so that's all in my spirit.
You're watching
call
Rhonda.
a thing. And there are other times, though, where that is extremely problematic, because stealing from content creators of color is a huge problem.
Yes, it is.
Statistically, people of color are the first adopters of new technology.
Yes.
We make social media what it is. Vine wouldn't be, what it was.
Right. It would not
would not have been if it wasn't for content creators of color. A lot of these platforms, I'm not, going to throw the Root into this, pot, but a lot of these platforms that, purport themselves to be platforms for Black people using the Black voice, they're just stealing from Black people, repackaging the shit and then selling it back to us like this is cool. Somebody that's a lot less discerning of the eye will think, okay, yeah, this is legitimate, when all they're doing is stealing from content creators of color. It's a real issue and it needs to be dealt with, but the Grapevine was just really, really off base.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. It is an issue. I remember several years ago, Gawker was a huge stealer from people of color. And the blog post that I actually referenced in the segment was in relation to something like that, where the Gawker took something of Awesomely Lovey, right? And it was a huge thing. And Gawker was always being accused of going in Black people's tweets, finding content, and then lifting it, and that is a huge issue, and it is across every industry. It's not just journalism or writing. It is in every single industry. I think I just did a story on Prime News about a Black tech company. Literally, a big white one came, stole their invention, and it happens
all the time
to people of color all the time, and it is usually because we're creating, they know all the law, they know all the technical stuff, and they have access to more resources.
And that's an excellent point that you brought up about having your affairs in order. Understanding the business is extremely important, because being creative is one thing, and that's important. We need creators of color, but at the same time, we need business people. We need people with the acumen to know, like, how do I do this and protect myself? How do I copyright things? A big argument a long time ago was the word fleek. You know, it was popularized by, you know, a young black girl. Now it's turned into God knows what. Did she get any bit of that? Absolutely not. I was at work the other day and I saw a paperweight sitting on this woman's desk that said, ain't nobody got time for that. Literally looks like something you would buy from Home Goods or TJ Maxx.
Oh my God.
Do you think a girl got a dime from that? Absolutely not.
No.
Absolutely not. So we're creating, we popularize these things, we make it what it is, we make it pop.
And we do not do the things that we need to do so that we can have the legitimate proof that we own it and the legitimate proof to say that we are entitled to some type of money or revenue from it. I mean, it's happening even with Feminista Jones right now. Her "You Okay Sis" hashtag. I think I saw another black creator, Black Girls Are Magic, and another hashtag that she created where, you know, they were bantering on Twitter like, you know, I'm trying to solve this issue of people taking what I've created, and I just want to reach out to them and say, you don't get any legal protection from creating a hashtag. You don't get any. You have to actually put it on something. You have to use it to show that it is a source of a product or a service. And you need to file paperwork showing when you first use it, and then you can prevent other people from using it. And it just happens over and over again. So I just wish people would just understand how it works so that when you do have a legit problem and the actual legit methods aren't working, then you could call your hive in to help you out.
So I want Twitter to do its thing and teach people about intellectual property. We have Trezanay. She's getting people together. We need more of those conversations taking place, honestly, because I think it's beautiful that we have all these creators of color stepping forward, you know, having these important conversations, creating really good and solid content. I think that's a beautiful thing. But at the same time, we need to make it make sense.
I agree with you 100%. I wonder if we have any comments at all. Let me see.
Let's see. I am not seeing any on the Facebook just yet. But something that I did want to say is that they also called out the producer of the video.
Yes, they did.
I don't know if she goes by Felicia or Felicia, but she works for The Root. So then Grapevine called her out as well. Okay, I want you to know that the video you produce is using stolen content. So then they're sending, you know, the Twitter hives to go after this young lady who's just doing her job. The Root still has not responded.
And they shouldn't.
At this point they have not responded.
I'm so glad that they did it.
Up. The video is still up on YouTube. But I did notice something pretty interesting. So 2 days ago, they tweeted, "Is hashtag The Root white owned? Are we just racist, anti-white propaganda machine? Welcome to this week's Clapback Mailbag." And in that article, they just pretty much go through all of the comments that they get on a regular basis about them being white owned, or apparently they're owned by Hispanic people and white people who just want to control what black people are talking about. So that's the thing that's out now. We can thank Dr. Boyce Watkins for, you know, perpetuating that conversation. I think there is a conversation that needs to be had about how much control black people have of the content that they're creating and the platforms that it's being placed on. I come from black media. That's, you know, where I was before. You know, I'm doing what I'm doing now more independently. And even before that, like, I've always worked in black media. So I think it's very, very important that those platforms are uplifted. But at the same time, like, we can't, somebody said this to me a long time ago, and they said, we cannot burn down the house we have to live in. So these platforms, they are employing a lot of black writers.
They are.
A lot of black content creators that otherwise, unless they were able to, by some sort of alchemy, create something that made money themselves to where they didn't have to be employed by these places. That's one thing, but at the same time, I'm just like, okay, we can't just destroy stuff just based off of like these arbitrary random rules about who can own what. Like, I think that's crazy.
It is very crazy.
So can I interject on that? So I would like to add to that at this point, first of all, black people know that they are creators of trendy, pop culture content, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Whether it's actual content
Right.
like what we're doing now, or just off, brand comment, Twitter hashtag, whatever, right? So what are black people doing wrong in this situation that white people are doing right? White people are capitalizing on it like that,
Immediately.
grabbing it,
Yes.
Yeah.
and monetizing it.
Yes.
So
Immediately.
as a black community, how about get ready for that, and as soon as something comes on, capitalize on it. Make your money off of your thing immediately instead of sitting around and being happy that it's a trend.
Yes.
Don't be satisfied that it's a trend.
That's right.
Yeah.
The trend is the first step. The very next step is to monetize
That's
that.
absolutely right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely right.
Absolutely.
So the thing is, you have to know who to go to and to capitalize on it. And so I feel like that's where white people always win. They got their people. They got the accountant, the lawyer, the this, the that. You know what I mean? Like your capitalists, your whatever. You have access to all that. You know who to pick up the phone and call. And you typically either have yourself access to resources to get this done, or somebody who understands that money can come from, and they'll give it to you.
Yeah.
We don't have that.
And you know what? I think it speaks to a larger issue of in the black community, there is almost like there's this stigma around making money off of things and going the legal route. Like, I can't tell you how many people I've talked to that are either small business owners or they want to have nonprofits. They're in the process of doing so. And one of the first things that comes out of people's mouth is, I'm not doing this to make money. Okay, and that's all fine and well, but that does not mean that the paperwork does not have to be in order. It does not make sense. I can't tell you how many small business owners I've asked about, oh, well, can I pay you electronically?
What?
Well, I don't do all that. I don't do all that.
Yes, cash
I'm
only.
not cash only. I'm not dealing with a paper trail. And I've had people explain to me in great detail why they refuse to do so. And I'm just like, well, you kind of, there are some certain things that you kind of have
That's right.
to do.
That's right.
I understand maybe you want to create an alternate society in which you do not do things, based on capitalism, the rules of capitalism. If that's what you want, that's completely fine.
But you're here.
Right now, you're here. This is what we do. This is how things operate.
It's so funny that
Yeah.
you mentioned like people not wanting to have a paper trail, and I'm like, yeah, but you want to qualify for that apartment, and you don't got nothing to show that you have a source
Absolutely.
of income. You probably should know how to represent your
Yes.
business income in the form of a Schedule C. Like you
Yeah.
have to have a paper trail for that. It's
Yeah.
amazing how much you'll see actually on Twitter where women will say, how do I do this? How can I still be self-employed and get this? And I'm just like, oh my gosh. It's like law school 101 business. Like it's not even 101. It's like a prerequisite boot camp before you even get there.
Listen.
It's important to find your lawyers in your community and work with them and, to learn this information so that you're not a part of this, but you can make money off of what you create. Absolutely.
And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that.
No, we got a question. Producer
No,
right there?
you actually have a comment on Facebook.
Let's see.
Staffer contributor Rafael Martinez says, Trez just became one of the sexiest women in the world to me by going all legal beagle.
Winkle beagle.
Aw,
Goodness gracious.
that's so nice. It's so stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much where we're at. I hope the Grapevine doesn't ever do that again in terms of just putting stuff out there. Because I feel like you just kept trying to ride the wave of the viralness that you were getting. And so you were trying to start another beef so that there was no need for that. There was no need
for a beef whatsoever. And like you so eloquently pointed out, the attention that they got based off of this whole thing going viral. I'm just like, do you know how many videos there are out right now about Bruno Mars being a culture vulture? Yes. It is the hot topic of conversation, no matter how tired it is, in my humble opinion. I'm not even gonna go down that road with y'all, but the conversation is at this point is getting played. But I mean, it blew up. It turned into this whole ordeal. So I think instead of the whole clapback culture, people really, really need to just be focused on doing excellent work. It's like, let's focus on doing excellent work. How can we maximize this, for ourselves in a positive way and take it even further, take it another step further. But it turned into this whole this whole thing that it didn't have to be.
It didn't have to be at all.
Yeah.
I think they even had a tweet where they're like, hey, this went viral. Can we make our next episode go viral? And I'm like, yeah, focus on your next episode.
Yeah.
And, you know, you got new followers, you got new subscribers. I'm sure that you did. And roll with that.
Yes.
And then when the next one is hot, the next one is hot.
Do the work.
And do the
Do
work.
the work.
I think that's a good place to end this segment.